Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we had this adorable house, 2 stories, got it under contract. We go for inspection. We're underneath the house. There is like 5 jacks holding this house up, like metal jacks.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome back to The Closing Table. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh, and joining us on this episode, we are excited to talk to another real estate professional in a unique market. We want to welcome real estate professional Kristy Nakamura and her husband, Austin, to the show. How are you?
We are great. Aloha, everyone.
How's it going?
Thank you so much for having us today. Aloha.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it. That kind of tells everybody the market that you're serving, which we will get into very, very soon. But thank you again for taking time out of your very busy schedules to be here with us. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure.
We are here to talk about real estate, but let's talk about the real people before we get into that. So I'd like to take time, if you can, in 60 seconds or less, tell us who you are outside of real estate.
Okay. So I'm a wife, a mother of 3. I am an adventure seeker. So as far as like doing things that are outside the norm, diving with sharks, going on extreme hikes, that kind of thing, I'm your person for that. So love anything with the ocean, paddleboarding, our friends and family, and just spending as much time when we're not at work outside as possible, doing something fun together.
Yeah, we both get along well because we have a lot of the same hobbies. We try to hit the beach at least once a week. I like to fish and be outdoors just as much as her. So it really works for our relationship, both work and play.
Love it. I'm not going to continue this interview without going back to the fact that you talked about swimming with sharks like it was walking your dog. That's not something everyone does. So that is crazy. So that kind of shows that you are kind of like an adventurer. You kind of like to, what is it called? A thrill seeker somewhat. Would you agree? Okay.
I would.
It shows.
Yeah. Yep. And
because the shark thing, you can count me out.
Yeah, we've done it
crazy.
with the cage and then without as well, and it's super fun. It's a whole experience. I highly recommend it.
Oh, without the cage, you are a different animal, Kristy. Okay, good. Okay, that's good to know. Then you have a lot of fun. If you don't mind, Kristy, I want you to just describe your current real estate business, right? And if you're able to hit on 3 key points, please do. How long you've been licensed, any notable achievements, and or your niche or specialty.
Okay. Perfect. So I have been a licensed realtor for 3 years, all in the state of Hawaii. Previously, I had bought and sold my own homes on the mainland, was super interested in it, used to be a teacher. And when I dove into real estate, I just leaped with both feet. So notable achievements, 2023, I was nominated for an Aloha Aina Award. So that means one of my clients had to reach out to the state and say we had an incredible experience with her, and put in the nomination. So for me, that felt a lot different than if it was, just an award from the brokerage because of numbers and that kind of thing. So that was super, super exciting. And then I joined a team in December, but the month before, which is November, was the month that I was number 4 in the state of Hawaii with EXP in terms of production. So top producer, yay! Yeah, we were really excited about it. And then we joined a team, so that we'll be on the team's numbers now, but it was super exciting to get that.
Love that. That's beautiful to hear. So you've been doing your work. You've been in Hawaii. You've put in the work. You've met people. You've actually gotten things done. Yes. There was something that you said I want to touch on. I think I'm gonna go back to it in a minute.
Okay.
But that's good. Making an adjustments in that market, Hawaii market, which I want to dive into now. That's the unique market here in the United States, right? Still part of the United States. It's separated. It's on a lot of people's bucket list, definitely one of mine. But I want you to go into depths into what's going on in Hawaii in the economic side of things. Give us some information in regards to data, average list price, sale price, days on the market, any information you can give us, please.
Okay, so we kind of break it down in Hawaii on two separate types of sales. So we have the condos and we have single family homes. As far as single families, for December, we closed out with the average of 16 days on market. Condo was 30, and then they averaged them and said 22 for the total. Price points are also very, very different depending on what you're looking at. So condos are around $510,000 average, and single family homes are $995,000. It is extremely hard to find any single family home for less than $700,000 here. So that's a big mind shift for people that are either moving back to the islands or for people moving from the mainland. So like for me, example, the last home I sold on the mainland was in Tennessee, and I sold a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath on a half acre for $199,000. And then we moved here, and I'm like, you can't get a studio for that. Like this is kind of insane. And so when people are transitioning from the mainland or military getting stationed here, and they look at the price points and they're like, well, I want a single family house for like $300,000-$400,000. And we can't do that. We just can't. So a lot of the job right now is just educating people on the differences in the markets, what Hawaii is like, and just giving that education to people for what to expect and that kind of thing.
Right. That is, I think it was your profile, if I'm not mistaken, when I was doing some research. I think you posted a listing. I think it was you that you posted a listing. It was like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo or something like that. It was like $600,000 $600,000 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
Yes.
But then I thought about it, and I think I was with my girlfriend at the time. I thought about it. I said, this is in Hawaii, though. I think I might do that. If it was just me and my girlfriend or wife and, no kids or something like that, that's pretty simple to have a property in Hawaii. That's just me personally, though. So it seems like it's a crazy high cost relative to what you would say in the mainland.
Right.
But I think there's a good trade value, me personally, in the location of it.
I do too. After living here for like 30 days, I was like, I'm never going to move again. This is it. I've lived in 9 states. It was like, okay, Hawaii is home now. And the trade-off with the cost of housing is nothing compared to being able to play outside almost 365 days a year.
Oh,
so
talk about it. Oh. A whole coat, sweater, hat, everything. It's snowing out here in Michigan right now, so I can't relate, but bring some of that over here to us. We appreciate it. So, okay, good. I want to talk about your approach in real estate, right? Because you say you have a non-sales approach when it comes to generating leads and building relationships with clients. This is interesting to me because I don't like being sold to. I don't think anyone does. People like to be in control and feel like they made the decision to buy rather than someone, kind of influence them to sell or whatever, to buy. So I just want to talk about an example of where you use this non-sales approach, and you can kind of illustrate the fact it was a non-sales approach and how it worked out for you and the client in the transaction.
Absolutely. So when we get clients, obviously we're talking about real estate, but once we have that initial buyer consultation, part of that is including them on things with where the beaches are, where the activities are, where the concerts are, anything fun to do, right? And then we talk about the value of real estate in Hawaii. We have close to an annual rate of appreciation of 5% historically. So because we're that international market, we don't have the ebbs and flows of the mainland. So we go through that, and this is your value proposition for purchasing a home in Hawaii. And this is then the realistic expectation of what you can get. So if you're looking for 2,000 square feet with a 3-car garage and you want a $3,000 payment a month, we can't do it, right? But, and that's just the honest, like, I would love to help you get that, but if we can't, we can't, right? So if you tell me, you know, this is my budget, this is, you know, my goals, this is what I'm looking for, we go through that and we explain from A to Z. So I run comps for them, we show properties, we talk about the neighborhood amenities, what's there, and I just give them more education versus sales. So I never come at it, I'm like, this checks all your boxes, so you have to put in an offer right now. Like, that will never be a thing for me, because I don't, like you said, you don't like to be sold to, we don't like to be sold to, and just kind of not going to participate in that. Because with Hawaii real estate, if it meets your needs financially and you're comfortable with your payment and the house meets those basic boxes, because most houses here are not going to meet all of your boxes. It's just really hard here. But if you can see the value in that, the houses sell themselves, right? We have low inventory, great options. I don't need to sell you on the house. I need to support your decision-making process, whether you decide you want to buy, you want to rent, you want to invest, remodel, and see the value in that. So we have a lot of vendors that we work with. So if they're, you know, for example, just talk story. We had an older gentleman. He came through an open house that we had and was enamored with it. He's like, oh my gosh, we want to do this. My kids want to live here, but we have to sell our house first, right? So we went over, we had a listing presentation with him. The house was not going to have enough value on it to go and purchase the other house, because they were going to get in financial, not trouble, but they were going to be outside of their comfort zone, right? And they didn't really need that bigger space, but they did need to change the space that they had. So instead of trying to get him, oh, you need to sell this house and you need to purchase this one over here, it was, you know what, this isn't going to be the best decision for you and your family, but we're going to give you some contractors, help you through the building process. Any questions you have related to it, we're happy to help you. And if you could just tell your friends and families that, you know, we're realtors and would love to help you if you hear anybody else buying or selling, and go about it at that approach. Because I don't ever want clients coming back and being like, you sold me on this house and now I'm in financial trouble and it's your fault, right? So
buyer's remorse.
Yes. Yeah. We try to avoid that as much as possible. So it's really more of, what can we do to help guide you to a decision that is going to be the best case scenario for you, whether we sell you a house or not. And then using us as that point of reference if you have questions later, or, you know, if you decide to move or buy or sell later, you know that we're a trustworthy couple and that we're not here just to make money. We're here to help.
Yeah, and on my end, something on that has come up was recently kind of the same thing with somebody who's maybe looking to buy or maybe looking to stay in their house. And this person was a music professor and his wife had bad allergies. And we met them a while ago. And this was something that I take care on my end, as far as emailing on the back end and just keeping up that client care. And so, you know, they have been out of touch and they were thinking about remodeling or buying. And so Kristy had noted, as we are a team, in her open house notes that the wife had bad allergies and that the husband was really into music. So, you know, knowing that they had these problems, they were in an area that had high allergies. So me on my end, I individualized to them, trying to not sell them that house in that place that has high allergies, because it seemed like a big problem for her. And I gave them an allergy forecast, and I gave them, you know, other areas that they can stay in. And, you know, it's just that personalized, not selling you on having to buy or sell, just whatever you need to fit your lifestyle. Because, hey, if it's not you that's going to buy or sell with us, it's that personal touch that we give the clients that, you know, why wouldn't you want to go with somebody who's going to take care of you? Because we're not trying to use clients. We're just trying to take care of them, like, as Kristy says, as they would our own family. So that's our theory.
Man, an allergy forecast. I was today years old. What is that? I mean, it makes sense now that you explain. I mean, you didn't explain it, but I would imagine what it is. It just tells you, you know, the seasonality of the allergies in the environment and whatnot. But that just goes to show the fact that you know where you are, you know the type of resources you can provide for your clients that will be helpful. And like you said, Kristy, The best thing you can do in a non-sales approach is just present the options and let them make the decision.
Absolutely.
That is the best way to handle it. I 100% honor and respect that right there.
Thank you.
Moving into another section, another part of the transaction, inspections. This could be a very big roadblock in the entire transaction. I've never inquired about this in the Hawaii market, but let's talk about it. Has there been a transaction that you were handling where there was an issue with the inspection period, that may have caused the whole transaction to kind of hold up even during like a whole pending sale and whatnot?
Yes, absolutely.
And how did you overcome that too?
So a lot of research and a lot of guided information from us, trusted vendors, and then the client himself. So there was, we had a set of clients that really wanted to live in the downtown Honolulu area. Those houses are oftentimes much older. They're built into hillsides. They're very unique properties that were built before codes are
Built
what
in
they
the
are today.
30s and 40s, some in the 20s.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we had this adorable house, 2 stories, got it under contract. We go for inspection. We're underneath the house. There is like 5 jacks holding this house up, like metal jacks.
Like a car jack or something, like just before a house?
Yes, it's
floor
for
jacks.
Wow.
It was insane looking, and they're concreted into the under the foundation where there's like dirt around, and then there's these jacks, and they've got concrete poured into them to hold the whole house up. And the inspector's like, Kristy, what are we doing right now? And I'm like, I don't know.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, they really want to buy this house. And then in addition to that same house, we had a new roof with solar panels, but right underneath the composition shingle roof was wood shock or wooden shingles underneath. And they didn't bother to tear off their original roof. They just slapped a new roof on top of it, threw solar panels up there, and we'll call it a day. So... we had,
headache.
yeah, we had the client happen to be an engineer, and then we called in structural engineers, had an inspection done. They gave the pros and the cons of purchasing a home on 5 jacks. And the client decided, you know what, we're more worried about the location. The engineer said that it was sound. We're going to keep an eye on it, have a plan, but they went ahead and purchased the home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they know that they may have some roofing issues down the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
foundation issues, maybe?
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. But, we left the choices always up to our buyers. We called in the professionals, had it inspected, got all of the recommendations on what to do. And ultimately, the buyer was like, the location is the most important thing. So we want this particular house. And they went ahead with it.
I almost want to go to this house. I have to see what that view is like. That must be one of the most amazing views in America for you to take a house like that.
Yes.
But man, I mean, if they want, see, and that's the thing too, right? Because you could have been like, I don't think you should, and you probably did. I don't think you should get this house or whatever. Yeah. But it's not up to you. Yeah, exactly. It's not up to you. You just present the options and they make the choice.
Absolutely.
And I think that speaks to your professionalism, because like we said, it could have been a straight money thing for you. It could have been a few different reasons to motivate you to kind of get them up out of there. But like you said, it's their choice. They wanted it for the view. That's what they found the most value in, even to the point to where that value overlooked the foundation and the roof. Yeah. I can't get past that, but to each his own though. You've done your part as a professional, and that's what I can applaud. Man, wow, I can imagine going through that process. But okay, so there's a rise in housing prices, like we already know, and the cost of housing, it affected everyone essentially, especially during the pandemic. Is there a lack of affordable housing in your market, the Hawaii market, and how are Hawaii natives dealing with it, and what do you think should be done?
Okay, so there is a lot of frustration around affordable housing here. So if you're native Hawaiian, you have to be over 50% over to be on Hawaiian homelands, and then you can get leased land and then build on top of it or inherit houses. There is so much red tape around that, and at this point in time, the amount of people that can qualify for that are still living in Hawaii is so low. So Austin's grandparents have Hawaiian homelands on a different island, and there's a period of time in which they get to live there, and then if the grandchildren and that kind of thing are not enough Hawaiian blood, then that can actually be taken away. So that's one big issue we have on the island as far as that goes. And then our governor has put out an emergency proclamation for the state because of our lack of affordable housing options. They are trying to build like 50,000 within a certain time frame. One of the issues that comes up with that, though, is that they will do these affordable housing, and then you have to live in them for 10 years to get any of the shared appreciation. And if you sell it before the 10 years is up, that goes back to the city, state, and that project to keep them affordable for the next person coming in. So if you have like a young guy, say, that buys one of these affordable houses, what happens when you get married, have a family, that kind of thing, you need more space. Well, even though you purchase this house, you're not going to be able to make any money in that appreciation market whatsoever. So I feel like that's another really complex, just a very complexity of the Hawaii real estate market, is having to navigate that and to know what is the upside of going ahead and getting into home ownership and knowing that you have to live there 10 years versus basically throwing your money down the drain for rent, because neither one of them in 10 years is going to give you any upside for making generational wealth for your family. So,
oh no, please, you have more to say?
No, so that's why the people from here who grow up here, the way that we have learned to, or maybe the way that most of us deal with it, is we just have to stay at home with our parents for as long as, possible until we can make that money and go out, because we have two friends actually who are in that 10-year commitment, and they are they're our age, early 30s, and I don't know, they live in studios, and I don't know what they expect. I don't know how they're expected to not have a family and stay there until they're 40, early 40s, and I don't know how you expect them to, like Kristy said, get ahead a little bit with the market. And so for us people from Hawaii and stuff, one thing that we do is we look to extend and extend homes and renovate and expand. And that's why you see a lot of the things like she ran into on that other deal with the floor jacks and the different kinds of things, because everybody has to hui together. We all have to come together, and we all end up under one roof. And like my parents, for example, they have their home set up. They extended it so that if we need to move in there, we can. And that's basically how people in Hawaii try to combat the high prices. If they don't have VA loans or if they don't have other things to get ahead, and other than that, they move away and then hopefully try to come back and not get priced out of the market when they do. Yeah.
And I haven't looked at the exact numbers, but they talk about Las Vegas having more native Hawaiians than Hawaii has.
That is so funny that you mentioned that. Y'all said a mouthful, and I want to go back and speak on that. But what's so funny about the fact that you mentioned that? I did have another agent, one of my first agents from the Hawaii market, and they were speaking. They said something about, there's 8 islands here. Sometimes we joke and say Las Vegas is the 9th.
Yep.
And I didn't get the joke at all, but now that you put it in perspective, I guess that's what it is. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of sad. It's a few emotions that I'm feeling about it. I asked that question because as someone who's not familiar with that area, I still know that Hawaii is an island that is miles away from the mainland. So I can only imagine the stress and the pressure that you must feel if you cannot afford a home there. You've been living there your entire life, but you have to find somewhere to go. You can't just walk to another state or something like that. And so I feel a lot of concern for that, even as someone who's never been there. Please.
And that's like a a thing about the culture here. A lot of people leave, and me for myself as an example, I've lived in Las Vegas, for school and to work, and like I said, that's kind of like the only way that we can get ahead if after we pay our college loans, our student loans and stuff like that, it's hard to be competitive here in the housing market.
It is. And that's one of the things that we love is when people from Hawaii decide to move home, and then being able to help them get back into a house here to have that home ownership. Again, with the appreciation market that we have, for a lot of people when they move back, that is how they're going to build that generational wealth, and then try to keep parts of their culture alive if they, choose to have a family or that kind of thing, or just reconnecting with how they grew up. Because the culture here is so different than it is in many places. So,
and that's why it's hard. You can't just, like if you move from Nebraska to Kansas or even New York to California, it's not as big of a culture shock as it is for local people to move from Hawaii to Oregon or Hawaii to Las Vegas or Arizona. It's hard because you have to give up the way you live. You cannot just go to the beach. It's not 20 minutes away.
No.
You got to go Lake Havasu or someplace, that's not like the beach,
No, I 100% agree. And like I said, as someone from the outside looking in, now that I'm getting more familiar with that market and speaking to more agents in that area, that perspective has crossed my mind, and I worry about it. Like I said, I have no connection to Hawaii, but I'm thinking about the natives who's been there for generations, and then what it must feel like to feel like you can't afford a home in your own backyard.
And
so,
for a lot of us here from Hawaii, a lot of people aren't native Hawaiian, but it's the people of Hawaii identify as a culture who grew up here, because Hawaii is a melting pot of, there are so many cultures that came over with the sugar boom, with the sugar plantation. So me, for myself, as an example, I'm Hawaiian, Japanese, Filipino, Portuguese, some other Caucasian in there, but Hawaii as a culture itself is unique. So that's why leaving here or being a part of this is just special in itself.
I agree. Well said. Thanks for adding that too. We appreciate that. Moving forward a little bit, I do want to go back and talk about culture before we get out of here. But moving forward, there's a situation when you're in a transaction and you have both parties coming to something like this, the closing table.
Yes.
And you have to do some negotiating. Has there been a situation, I would imagine so, Kristy, where you had a disagreement, some type of tense relationship with the agent throughout the process? And can you talk about how it was resolved, or maybe how it kind of dissolved the entire transaction?
Absolutely. So a lot of times when we get into transactions, when we get into the negotiation piece, whether agents aren't as responsive or they want to try to strong arm, kind of determines my approach to it. So we have a funny little ethical shark nickname, right? Where I try to get along with everybody and be super kind and easy to work with. But there comes a point in a lot of transactions that part of me has to get put in a box, and then the ethical shark has to come out. That is like, okay, we're not playing anymore. This is like business time,
Right.
and we have to fight on our client's behalf. So I had clients that had this, they're purchasing a townhouse in Eva Beach, little 3-bedroom, 2-bath, cute little place. But the owners were still occupying it, and they had very large dogs. And we'll just say that they weren't the cleanest people to start with. And then when they got in the transaction, there was some marital issues, whatever, they're not taking care of the dogs. So we go in to have the home inspection after we got the property under contract. This was in the height of the market, so getting inspectors out was taking a little bit longer than typical. So we go in, and I literally had to immediately walk out because the smell of dog pee was literally overwhelming, where I'm like gagging. So walk out, and we come back in, and open up all the windows and we go through the inspection, and the inspector's like, okay, we have all this dog urine now on the floor. This wasn't here before. And part of the contract is if you purchase a home, it's got to be in the same condition as it was when you put the offer on it, right? So calling the listing agent and like, hey, we have this issue. The house now just reeks of dog pee. And the inspector saying that it got through the laminate flooring, and that's going to need to be replaced because you can't get the smell out now. And she basically was like, oh, we'll just cancel and put it back to market, and sorry for, and I'm like, nope. No, that's absolutely not acceptable, because we got into contract with the house in a certain condition. Now we're here. It doesn't match. We're going to need to figure out a solution. So went back and forth, ended up with enough credit for my clients to go in, rip out the floors, put in what they wanted to after they vacated, got a little bit extra for extensive cleaning instead of just a regular clean. So anything else in the house that just kind of picked up that smell could be remedied. But it was a process, and, just seeing the other side of the table where they just don't always want to work with you and think that they can strong arm other people is, when that happens, it's frustrating, but it's part of
the nerve,
part of the business.
the audacity of some people. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is crazy. See, and you hate to hear stories of actual human beings in the world like that,
Right?
but they exist. Like, what? I can't, when you said that, I said, wait, what? She wanted to just back out and say, you know what? Forget it. We'll just end this contract. No, it's not going to work like that.
No.
You need to clean this up. So in the end, just for clarification, you basically got seller's concessions for your buyer to help them clean that up and pay for that?
Yeah. So we got enough credits for them to rip out all the floors, put in what they want. So
I love that.
And then
Shout out to agents getting seller concessions in this market. We love that. Right. Oh, we love that. Great work.
Thank
you. You doing something over there, Kristy. I like that. Okay. You're doing so good, but there's still challenges in real estate.
Absolutely.
And I want to know, from your personal perspective, what do you feel like is the most challenging aspect of the real estate industry overall, not just in your market? If you have it just in your market, please. But if you also can give an example of something that exemplifies that.
Okay. So for us, I'm going to do Hawaii specific. It is really the price point is our most challenging thing. We have this market overall that we have more good agents than bad. There's a clear, we want to cooperate with each other for the most part. But getting buyers here that are able to qualify to get to have a home is challenging. And then educating and changing that mainland mentality, mindset of how far the dollar should stretch is another challenge that we experience here. So we've got clients that are like, I only want to spend X amount. I don't want to drive far. I don't want this, but this is my, checklist. And having that conversation and educating them and not coming off as like, you don't know anything, right? It's, what you know for the mainland. Absolutely. And I agree with you. But if you want to participate in home ownership here, we have to adjust the mindset and get people over the thought process of, this needs to be my forever home, right? So your first home in Hawaii, oftentimes there's a lot of people that subscribe to whatever you can afford for your first home, just buy it, fix it up, get your appreciation, then move to the next home and continue that step up. So I have a client right now that's pre-approved for X amount, but he's shopping houses that are $500,000 over. And I'm like, we can't get you into that. Like, it's not,
no matter how much you want
it, we cannot do it. And he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait to purchase then. Well, absolutely. That's your choice. And we will, respect and, let you sit on the sidelines and all of that. But just keep in mind, if your goal was home ownership, appreciation, generational wealth, you're not going to get to achieve that, because by time you save up enough money to get that $1 million plus luxury house, the price has gone up. And now it's still outside of your reach because you didn't choose to jump in, get what you could afford, make your money, and then move up.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You said wait for what? Like another pandemic? Like prices are only going to increase, right?
No.
Yes.
Am I missing something?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
No, and that
okay, well,
yeah, that's just kind of where some of the challenges are, and that's not always the case, but we do see that quite a bit with clients that come in and they want a particular thing, but what they want is just outside
right.
the budget.
And on my end, some of the things
Yeah.
that are challenges for me with the social media and the SEO and the back end stuff is just how everything is so fast changing. One day you're writing, this is good for the algorithm. The next day you're not supposed to be putting on geotagging. Or
Yeah.
one day you're supposed to put on location. The
Oh
next
wow.
day you're supposed to be uploading pictures, and just staying up to date with what puts Kristy's profile at the best, so has the best
Mm-hmm.
visibility, and honestly not
Mm-hmm.
having a blueprint to success, and just trying to messing around and finding out and seeing what
What
will
works.
be good for lead gen, because my whole deal is once I get the clients in front of her, her closing rate is high. So that's my problem that I need to solve, is how do we get the clients who are able to get qualified in front of her, because once she gets them showing houses, her closing rate is really high. So that's kind of how our dynamic has been
There it
working so
is.
far. Yeah.
Love it, love it. Whatever works, man.
Yep.
Keep pushing it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Love it. So I wanna go back
Okay.
briefly to the whole Hawaii culture, if you don't mind just talking about this a little bit more. 8 different islands in Hawaii, right? And to my belief, my understanding, all different types of personalities, characteristics, and things of that nature. So, one, can you describe the different cultures or what it's like on each different individual island? I guess this would be a question for you, Austin. And then Kristy, if you can, and following up with that, how do you kind of use the knowledge of the different cultures and different vibes on the islands to kind of match whatever your clients pretty much want to go for, whether it's just their environment, lifestyle, or investment?
Absolutely.
So Oahu is the major island, the biggest, well, not the biggest, but it's the most populated island, and it's where you see a lot of the city kind of touristy things. So even the pace of life for the people who live here is just a little bit faster. Obviously slower than on the mainland,
Yeah.
but just a little bit faster than it is on the other outer islands. The other outer
Mhm.
islands are a little bit more slower, a little bit more country, a lot less city, a lot less people.
Yeah.
Everything's a little bit more spaced out. Certain pockets you'll get people who have migrated to Hawaii on the outer islands, and they're kind of prevalent, and those are the more touristy and a little bit pricier locations. But on the outer islands you get a lot of pockets where there's just a lot of those generations who have been in Hawaii, like I said, whether it be the Japanese, the Filipinos, and like I said, everybody's all integrated. So you have a lot of how Oahu used to be back in like maybe 20 years ago on the outer islands. And we like to escape out to the Big Island when we can. My grandpa, as Kristy said, has Hawaiian homes out there, so we like to get out to the Big Island and just really get into the nature kind of things. And people who live on the outer islands really get to experience more of those deeper nature cultural things, like going pig hunting without having to
Nice.
worry about certain things that you have to do on Oahu, or on Molokai being able to go and shine light to shoot deer, even though, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but just certain things like that. On outer islands are way more country, a lot what
Yeah.
Kristy grew up in. Then Oahu is a little bit more that city kind of suburbs kind of deal. Yeah.
So we have Oahu has a lot of shopping. We have all of the bases from the different, or every branch of military has a base here, including the Space Force. We have tons of traffic, and our cost is high here versus like Big Island. You can find a single family brand new build for less than $400,000. So we have two very, very different markets. And then you go to Big Island and there's so much more like local places to eat and little shops. Like his family, how do you pronounce it?
Oh yeah, my family has a Lahala shop, so it's a tree, and then it's if you ever see those woven mats, the brown ones with that, they have mats and hats, and my family has a store on the Big Island that it's been around for a long time. So there's a lot of those like older mom and pops kind of things on the Big Island, Kauai, Maui, the outer islands. Yeah.
So, and then if
Right,
you're
right.
into nature, the Big Island is just so different, and that you can park on the side of the road,
Mm.
take a little small hike down, go through a stream type deal, walk to the end. You have a waterfall with hundreds of feet of tropical trees and palm trees and mango trees, and look out onto the Pacific from the top of a waterfall. Like there is,
Ooh,
yeah,
Yeah.
there
ooh,
is nothing like it.
No.
It's
Yeah.
the most,
that sounds. Ooh,
yeah, for us, it was one of the most amazing places that you can have. But one thing that all of the islands seem to have is just this tight knit community with their families and their friends. Where on the mainland, Friday nights, younger couples may be going out to the bar and going out to the restaurant and
hmm,
seeing a show. And here, it's like, which family is hosting you for the night? Which family member are you going to their house? You're going to have pupus, which is like appetizers, talk
oh,
story, maybe
okay.
have a couple of drinks. And that's a traditional night here with that. And then watching, yeah,
Nice.
it's super cool. And then watching how the different cultures kind of come together. So on New Year's Eve, for instance, we have a ridiculous amount of fireworks across the island. Like it would put any mainland show to shame for the 4th of July. Like the whole island just
Wow.
lights up.
And
Um,
fireworks are not legal.
yeah, there's
Oh,
that.
well, okay.
And we're on an island, so I
Got
don't
your
know.
own thing there.
I don't know how things get here.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Man, that just sounds like such a great time. Two things I want to mention in regards to what you all just said. This first one is a question.
Okay.
I guess it's more for you, Austin. Are there any, and this is just my curiosity, are there any islands or parts of Hawaii that are forbidden for maybe tourists or outsiders to come? Maybe it's just strictly natives there, or some sort. Does that exist there?
Yeah, so the different islands, like Lanai is privately owned. Niihau, they call it the Forbidden Island, and I went to Kamehameha schools, and Kamehameha you have to have Hawaiian blood to attend. So
Mm.
there's some of my classmates that come from Niihau, and they like subscribe to like some old Hawaiian traditions, like um one of my classmates used to like cut his nails, and because Hawaiians believe that your nails and your follicle, like your hair and stuff, has power, he used to keep them in his Ziploc bag so that like nobody could find him and take away his power. So you have places that are
Oh.
like, for, they're not necessarily for those people, but they ended up staying there, like, and the culture has been preserved, and even to the point where their Hawaiian dialect is a little bit different than it would be spoken
Mm.
modernly, or and Ko'olave, my sister, she's fluent in Hawaiian. She's been to that island, which there's no boat ramp, so you have to get dropped off by the ship and swim up on. And well, that island is because it was actually a active testing site for the military um, back in the days.
Oh.
So they actually go there and they
Oh.
help. They're trying to bring back the greenery there, the trees, and all those things, because it was used so heavily for bombing and all those things, that they actually have like some live shells and stuff over there that they have to make sure that the areas are swept first before they go in, and they try to plant new trees and all. There's do not walk areas and all those things. So
Whew.
yeah. So like
Oh
Kristy
my
said,
goodness.
military has been very prevalent in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just realized that
Interesting.
we skipped one of your questions about if we have clients, how do they pick their lifestyle?
Mm.
So, one of the reasons that I recently joined the agency was because our team is across 4 of the islands. So, Oahu, Big Island, Maui, and Kauai. So, if we have people that are looking for different types of investment opportunities or a different type of lifestyle, that goes into a group chat, and we basically say, okay, we have this client that is looking for this type of investment with this type of lifestyle. They want the hustle and bustle, or they want the slower pace. They want the resort communities. And we kind of come together and and say, okay, this is who could best help. This is, we have this agent that can show on Maui or this agent that can show on Big Island. And if the client's able to, fly in, then they get that one-on-one time with the different agents. And then if they can't, we do virtual tours. So we've got a lot of options to meet their needs, because with us, we're too busy. We can't just fly to another island. And then I wouldn't be the expert to give them the proper guidance on that market and the different MLSs that we have. And then extreme different price points for the islands. Cause like here, we talked about under 700, you're not getting a single family house. Big Island 350, you're golden, so it's that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's very different per each island. So, not pretending to be an expert of all the things, right? And just saying, Oahu is my market. Like, you come in, I can help you with that. But if you want the outer islands, then we have somebody on our team that can guide you and give you the information on it and help you make that decision.
Love that. Love that. And that's how you're supposed to have a network of different people that you can work with, that you can send, references to or get references from and things of that nature. So I thank you both so much for sharing that information. I learned a lot. And one thing that stood out to me is the fact that Austin says he does pig hunting. That stood out. I definitely want to bring that up.
I don't go out.
Pig hunting before I go out. but nonetheless, thank you both for being here, for pulling up a seat to the closing table. Hey, Kristy, at this point, if you have any last words or want to tell people how to reach out to you, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So anybody that's looking to buy or sell on any of the islands, please feel free to reach out. Phone number is 808-829-6819 or search HawaiiHomesByKristy.com.
There it is. Thank you so much again. For our YouTube audience, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I should say, do us both a favor and hit that like button, please, and thank you. Make sure you also subscribe and share the content. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. And I'm also going to leave this question with the audience, the viewership, you watching and listening. What would be your ideal solution for affordable housing in the Hawaii market? Just think about it. Leave your comments below. Other than that, we'll talk to you next time.